I think more than anything else, it's a failure perhaps to think comprehensively about infrastructure as a means to economic development. There's also a sectoral issue. Water can be in one agency, roads in another, sewer in yet another, and there's not collaboration across that. Clearly, the idea of the public sector and the private sector meeting and going open book in terms of sharing goals and aspirations and funding models is a way toward solving infrastructure issues. But the public-private partnership nomenclature means about something different to everybody who hears it. So in that sense, I don't think it's the solution in of itself, but it embodies an important principle, which is transparency and, frankly, bringing public and private together early and then planning for the long term. I think there's an opportunity for state or provincial government to take a lead in terms of coaxing toward a framework where you could use a combination of targeted rates, tax increment financing, some special district financing, which is really a function of targeted rates. But more than anything else, getting the conversation going at a pretty fundamental level between property developers and units of government, with the state playing a role in helping bring that about. You either have developed or undeveloped property, but at any rate there is a general rate that applies to that value, which creates a tax. Then something from a specific point in time happens to cause value to increase in a defined geography, a district. And that increase in value is also subject to a rate. And that creates a fund which grows over time, which becomes the increment. That increment then is available to defray specific project costs, infrastructure being one of the leading ones of them. And those districts and that capture of the increment can be as long as 23 years. And so even though the discrete year-to-year amount may not be that much, when you aggregate it all together and discount it to present value, it can support a bond issue. That's how it works. We have about 3,000 to 3,500 TIF districts across our 50 states, and 2,000 of them are in the Midwest. And because we had economic downturn born of loss of industrial jobs, necessity's been the mother of the invention for a number of those districts. But it's been used in California for over 60 years as a way of promoting infrastructure and other development. It works very well. It's not a panacea. It only covers 5 to 20% of the cost of any given project. But it's like public equity, spent in a catalytic, strategic way that brings about economic development that would not otherwise happen. So yeah, I think it would make some sense.